Welcome back to Mac Talks Football, and it's match day 10 in Serie A. Just one day after match day 9 are finished, we are going to have match day 10, and what an interesting set of games, a match day set of games and set of results we had from match day 9. We are going to do the review video later on, but in this video we are going to concentrate on match day 10 and make our predictions and see how many of them we get correct in the end. 3 points if the predictions are correct, and 2 points if the prediction is right but the score is not right. So let's go ahead and start the first game. It is Lecce versus Verona. Now both these teams lost on match day 9, but under different circumstances. Lecce, they were lost 1-0 against Napoli. It was quite a tough game. I really did not think that it would be such a tough game in the end for Napoli. I thought it would be a very easy game for them to win, but Lecce really fought hard. They went toe to toe with Napoli, and they made life really hard for Napoli in that game. And I think they would take confidence from that game, and now they are at home and they would want to get something out of this game. They are bottom of the table. They are playing against a side as well who are struggling as well, but Lecce themselves know that how important this game is. They have lost their last 4 games in a row, and they are winners in their last 5 as well. So it's a big game for them. They are playing against a 15 side, Verona, who, as I said before, they are struggling themselves. They lost, they did not just lose, they got destroyed by Atalanta 6-1. It was a really bad performance from Verona. They were never really in the game. The game was over in that first half itself, and they never really came back. It was quite a one-sided game. They have now lost 4 in their last 5 games as well, 2 in a row. So it is not a good form that they are coming in this game. And as I said, they are 15. They are still a bit away from the teams from Lecce. They are like 6 points ahead, but the other teams, it's like a 2 or 3 point difference. So Verona know if they lose this game and somebody from the bottom wins this game, they can be dragged into that relegation place. So that is, they are gonna come up with trying to get something out of this game. Both these teams really need those points, but I don't think anybody is gonna get the 3 points. I think it will be a draw in this game, and I think it will be a high scoring draw. I'm going for a 2-all draw between Lecce and Verona. Moving on to the next game, it is Cagliari versus Bologna. It is 14th versus 12th. And now Cagliari, they lost last weekend against Udinese. It was their first defeat in their last 4 games. They have just won twice, and that came in in the last 5 games. Just before last weekend, they had won 2 out of their last 3 games. So they came in this game with a good form, with a bit of a momentum. Udinese, but unfortunately for them, they couldn't get past over Udinese. Udinese played really good. They themselves knew how important that game was, so they lost 2-0 to Udinese. They are playing against a Bologna side who did not play over the weekend. They had a rest day game against Milan, got postponed, so they are going to come in this game fresh, and they are going to try to take a benefit out of it, that their opponents are their opponents, like, they're not really fresh. They had to play there. There's going to be fatigue coming in with the Cagliari players, and I think Bologna could take advantage of that. They have not been really that good. They have just won once in the season till now. They have played 6 draws, so they have sort of been the draw draw team of the season this year, and I think it could end up quite easily being another draw. But just because Cagliari played over the weekend and they lost as well, and how inconsistent they are, even though, as I said, they have sort of made a mini comeback in the last 3 or 4 games, but I just think at this game, with Bologna being so fresh and everything, I think they might go ahead and take it. I think it will be a very close game, and I think it will end up being a very easy, a close, cheeky 1-0 win for Bologna. The next game is the big one. It is Milan versus Napoli. It is 8th versus 1st. Now Milan, as I already said about Bologna, they did not play over the weekend. Their game got postponed, but they are in a really good form. They have won 4 out of their last 5 games, and they had a slow start, but they have made a comeback, and they are trying to get back into the thick of the things, and they are trying to get back into those Champions League places and trying to get in the title picture. And that is why this game is very important for them. If they can somehow beat Napoli, and then it will they are, like, at the moment, they are about 8 points behind Napoli, but with a game in hand. They win this game, that deficit comes down to 5, and if they win their game in hand, that deficit comes down to 2. So they know how important this game is. Playing against Napoli, like, they won over the weekend as well, quite easily. Not quite easily, sorry. They had a very tough game against Lecce. Nobody expected that game to be so tough, but they got the job done. They are, at the moment, I will say they are playing like champions. Even though they are not playing good, but they need to get the results, and they are able to get those results. They have now got a 4-point lead with Inter, because after Inter's draw against Juve, so they have got a 4-point gap between them and Inter, and they would hope that it continues, and they would hope that they can get a win in this game as well, so that lead continues to that they continue to have that game. But I think it will be a very tough game. I think it will be a very close game, and I don't think Napoli are gonna win it. Like I really would want Napoli to win it, but I don't think they are gonna win it, and I think it is gonna end up in a draw. I think it will be an entertaining draw. Napoli over the weeks have sort of stopped scoring. They are not really scoring that many goals, but I think in this game they will. And Milan on the other hand, again it will be a very interesting game. The two managers are going at it. I think it will we'll see contest a true prowess coming. If he manages to somehow win this game, I think that then it is a big statement against other clubs that they are here to stay. Like, and Napoli, I think again it will be a very big game, and I think it could be a draw as well, but just because of Conte and how shrewd he is, I think they are gonna edge it. It could quite easily, as I said, it could end up being a draw, but I think just because it's Conte and how Napoli are playing, how they are getting those results, I think it is they are gonna win it. I'm going for a 2-1 win for Napoli. Moving on to the next game, it is Venezia versus Udinese. It is a 19th versus a 7th. And now Venezia are really struggling, if I'm being very honest with you. They have won just once in their last 5 games. They were on a 3-game losing streak, and they able to end that streak again with a draw against Monza over the weekend. So they would be happy with that. They've got a point at least. But they are playing against an Udinese side who are looking really good. They are 7th, but they are like 4 teams on the same number of points like that they have, and they are just a point behind Juventus, and are just 2 points behind Inter. So if they win this game, they can automatically directly go to that second place in the league. So that's why this is a big game for them, and it's quite important for Udinese to go right. I keep on saying that the league is very tight, and anything can happen in any single game, or every weekend. The things are changing, and that is why every single game matters at the moment. If you look at other leagues, it's sort of starting, that's a pace is starting to set up. You can clearly sort of see which teams are going for the title, and which teams are going for those European places, and which teams are fighting for relegation. But Serie A and I think maybe Premier League at the moment are it's still quite congested. You still don't have a clear favorite at the moment. These certain teams are going to go for the title, and the other teams are going to fight for the championship. But Serie A is the most tight of them all, and with this game again, if Udinese win it, they go directly at the second place of the table. So they know how important this game is, and I think they are going to win it. They won last weekend as well, and Venezia, they are struggling, even though they are going to be at home. I just don't think they are going to stop Udinese, and that is why I'm going for a convincing win for Udinese, and with the same result like they won last weekend, I'm going for a 2-0 win for Udinese. The next game is Empoli versus Inter. It is 10th versus a 2nd. Now both these teams drew over the weekend. Empoli drew 1-1 against Parma, and then Inter played that magnificent game against Juventus in a 4-all draw. So both these teams are looking to get a win. Empoli, they are not really doing that good. They have won once, just once in their last 5 games. A couple of defeats, a couple of draws. So they really need to get going. They stopped that. They had a couple of draws, and then they won last over the weekend. So they have stopped that losing streak that was starting to build up, and they would hope that it doesn't go back to that, and they can get something out of this game. They are playing against an Inter side who, in my opinion, they have already lost a good amount of points, if I'm being very honest. I think they have already had 3 draws, and they drew against Juventus again over the weekend, and they know how important this game is. They cannot let Napoli increase that lead. It's already 4 points, and with how tight the league is going, that 4 point is gonna matter a lot. But still, it's early days. It's still 9 games, and they know Inter know that Napoli are playing Milan, and maybe by the time Inter's game come, Napoli might lose. So if Inter win this game, they can cut that lead from 4 to just 1 point. That's how important this game is, and I think they are gonna win against Empoli. It will be a close game, but I think Inter are gonna edge it 2-1. Moving on to the next game, it is Atalanta versus Monza. It is 5th versus 16th. Now Atalanta, they are on a quite a good run. They started good, but then they had a couple of 3 or 4 bad weeks. But then they have made a great comeback. They won a last 3 or 4 games in a row, and they destroyed Verona over the weekend 6-1. They were emphatic in that game, and they would hope that it can continue. They are playing against a Monza side who are really struggling. They drew against the Venezia 2 all over the weekend as well, so they are not in a really good position. They have won just once in their 5 games, so they are in a spot of bother, and I think unfortunately for them it is gonna continue. Atalanta, they are they are 5th, but they are tied on 16 points, and again they know if they win that game, they can with other results going in their favor, they could quite easily end up being number 2 or number 3 in the league table at the end of match day, and so that's why they are gonna go for it. And I think with the way that they played over the weekend, the confidence is going to be there. I think they are going to win it quite convincingly. I'm going for another drawing. I think they are going to win it a 4-0. The next game is a Juventus versus a Parma. It is 3rd versus a 17th. Now Juventus, they played an amazing game. They had a comeback when everything seemed lost over the weekend against Inter. They played a 4-all draw. It was quite an entertaining, one of the best games of the weekend. Probably the best game of the weekend, if I'm being very honest with you. It was such a good game of football. But the thing is, it was their 3rd draw in their last 5 games. They've already had 5 draws. It's the 2nd highest in the league, just one below Bologna, who have had 6, and the thing, it is not really looking that good. I keep on saying that it is they are not really playing that good to their potential. That the players that they have, they are not really reaching the expectations that the Juve fans have, and the potential that these players have. They got rescued courtesy of Kenan Yıldız's amazing cameo from the bench. He scored a brace and they came back in that game. Otherwise, it looked certain for all money that they were going to lose that game. But they have made a comeback, and they would hope that it can continue. Napoli are ahead 5 points lead. They already have from Juve, but Inter are just a point above them. So it's very important for them. Inter have an easy game. Juve, you would assume they have an easy game as well. They are playing against a Parma side who are 17th. They are struggling as well. They've lost just once in the last 5 games, but 4 of them have been draw. Including a 3 in a row in their last 3 games. They cannot, they are just not able to get over the line and get those 3 points. It is almost same like Juve. It has happened to them in a lot of those games, and this could be another game where Juve lost. Juve lose the points. And I just don't know why it is, but I think it is gonna happen. It could quite easily be a Juventus win, but just what I have seen over the weekend, over the season, I just think Juve are going to draw points here as well. I could be completely wrong, but I think that game took a lot out of Juventus's players to come back in that game. It was just physically, mentally draining as well. So I think that could help Parma in that regard, and that is why I think it is going to be a draw. I'm going for a 0-0 draw between Juventus and Parma. Moving on to the next game, it is a Genoa versus a Fiorentina. It is 18th versus 4th. I mean, Genoa are in all sort of trouble. They have lost 4 of their last 5 games. They lost to Lazio 3-0 over the weekend, and nothing is going right for them. Like whatever they are trying to do, it is not working for them, and they have got another tough game. They are playing against a Fiorentina side who have won 4 out of their last 5 games, and they have had a great rise, a great turnaround of the season. They started really bad, but they have made a great turnaround. They thrashed Roma 5-1 last night. It was a great performance from Fiorentina, and Roma never really came in that game, and they would be high on confidence, and they would think that playing against a struggling Genoa side, this is a perfect opportunity again to get those 3 points and try to cement their place in that top 4 even stronger. And I think they are going to get it. I just don't see any other result in that game. I think it will be another win, and I think it will be another easy win for Fiorentina. I'm going for a 3-0 away win. Speaking of Roma, it's their game next we are going to talk about. They are playing against Torino. It is 11th versus 9th. Now Roma, I really don't know what's happening at that club. They had one of the best transfer windows in my opinion. They brought in good players. The manager, Daniel De Rossi, was well liked by the players. He was well liked by the fans, but just in after 3-4 games they sacked him. I still don't understand why they sacked him. And it was such a controversial move because the fans loved him, and again it was just 4 games, and they had promised the fans that we are not gonna sack him, but they go ahead and sack him. They bring in Ivan Juric, and I think it is again, unfortunately for Ivan Juric, he has come at a place where the fans already hate him because what has happened with their club legend, and unfortunately for him, he is not able to get the results to get the fans turn around. That is not really happening for him. They keep on dropping points, and the last 3 weeks it has been disaster. It looks like that they are gonna make a comeback, but then they go ahead and they drop points there, they lose the game or they draw the game. And the way that they lost last night against Fiorentina, I mean, it was embarrassing. It was completely embarrassing. It looked like men against boys. Roma were never in that game. Fiorentina just toyed with them, and they had such an amazing win. They have dropped down to 11th. Like, they are so more close to that relegation places than to the the European places or the Champions League places. Forget about the title. There's just 5 points difference between them and the team in the relegation zone. So that's how bad the situation is at the moment at Roma. They are playing against a Torino side who themselves are not doing that good. They have just won twice in their last 5 games. They were on a 3-game losing streak, but they won over the weekend. So it's not like it's going to be a tough game in my opinion. I think it will be a close game because, to be very honest, both sides are struggling, but both sides have the players on their day to win you games. Both these teams have a really good squad, and I think it will be a very good game of football. I just don't see either of them winning. I think dropping points is going to be a continue for Roma, but I just don't see them losing. I'm going for a 2-2 draw between Roma and Torino. And the final game on match day 10 is Como versus Lazio. It is 13th versus 6th. Now Como, it looked like they had had a turn around after a bad start of the season. It looked like they had won a couple of games in a couple of consecutive weeks, and it looked like they were making a comeback. But the last 3 weeks they have lost twice and they have drawn 1, so they're possible 1 point out of a possible 9. So that's not a good look on Cesc Fabregas' man. And they were they lost over the weekend as well. So they are playing now against a Lazio side who are in a really good form. They are 6th in the table. They have won 3 out of their last 5 games. They won a 3-0 over the weekend as well. So they are in a really good form coming into this game, and they would hope that it continues as well, because Lazio themselves, they want to get back into the Champions League, and with how tight it is, they know they cannot afford to lose to drop points. Como, on the other hand, they themselves want to get away from that relegation area. They want to keep themselves as far away from them as possible. They are on 9 points. So they know if one more lose and somebody wins from back down, the gap is gonna get even shorter. At the moment, it is 4 points between them and the bottom teams, because 2 of them are on 5 points, and I think one of them on 6 points. It's 4 and 3 points. So Como know how important this game is, but I think unfortunately for Como, they are gonna lose this game. I think Lazio are gonna win this one, and they're gonna continue to make a claim for that Champions League places. I think it will be a very tough game. I think it will be a very tight game. I am going for a 2-1 win for Lazio. And with that, my predictions for match day 10 in Serie A are complete. We are going to see how many of them come true and how many points I'm able to accumulate. 3 points if the entire prediction is correct, 2 points if the prediction is correct, but the scoreline is not correct. So we'll see. You guys can play along with me. Make your predictions in the comment section below, and we will see at the end of the match day how many of our predictions came true and how many of our predictions were wrong. So yeah, please like the video, share it as well. Click on the notification bell, and of course subscribe to the channel. We are trying to get to 400 subscribers before the month of October ends. I know it's a big task at the moment. It's looking very unlikely that we are going to be able to achieve it, but we are hoping that we can get as close to it as possible. So please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, bye bye.